Oldishland. How are you today? I'm so happy that you were able to join us. My name is Karen Brown. I'm the publisher and editor of The Oldish, and I welcome you here on this Wednesday morning. A little dull and dreary here in southwestern Ontario. In fact, it is snowing outside this morning, just a little bit. Any of you who saw the Insta story from yesterday will know that in defiance of Mother Nature, I uncovered my patio furniture anyway and shook my fists to the heavens because I'm done with this winter. I'm just going to sit outside all bundled up on my patio, I suppose, until it decides to get warm. This week on The Oldish, as usual, we're going to take a look at the articles that we published this week, and we are going to take a look at news from around the world of The Oldish. We're going to talk in our Let's Talk About segment about internet privacy. It is just such a huge issue this week with Mark Zuckerberg testifying in the US and with all kinds of other articles roaming around about internet privacy, who has your data, why do they have it, what are they doing with it. So we're going to take a closer look at this. So first of all, let's start with this week on The Oldish. Let me first of all get rid of this and we'll put up this week on The Oldish. Okay, so we talked about swimming for a strong core and fewer falls. Now that's a really interesting piece. It was done in Australia, it was done on men, but there is no reason why the results shouldn't also translate to women. Swimming has always been a great exercise because it's easy on the joints, and so for older adults this is the thing to do. But it hasn't in the past, that I'm aware of anyway, been correlated with fewer falls. So that's a really good thing. Who likes broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts? There's an article on cruciferous vegetables and how they can reduce the risk for stroke. Now, eating those kinds of vegetables is something that fits in very well with the Mediterranean/DASH diet that is also good for older adults. It's good for anybody, but it's particularly been noted that it's good for older adults who want to increase brain function and stave off dementia. So take a look at that article. This article I loved. It's not really an article so much as a video. What is end of life like? Dr. Christopher Kerr, who is a Canadian who runs a hospice, I believe in Buffalo, has also done a lot of research on end of life with his colleagues. And this video is about 20 minutes long, and it's a TEDx talk that has Dr. Kerr talking about the findings from some of his research. It talks about the dreams that people have in the weeks and days and hours before they pass. Fascinating information that he has gleaned from these people who have been so willing to share with him. So that is a really interesting video to watch if you have 20 minutes. Planning a vacation this summer? If you use a walker, a wheelchair, a cane, travel companies are getting more used to you, and there is a world of possibilities out there for disabled travelers. So if you're planning a trip this summer, read that article and maybe you'll get a few little hints. As you know, A.J. Jones has been writing a series of articles for us on her journey with her mother through her mother's descent into Alzheimer's. And chapter 19 was posted. It is the final chapter. I encourage you to read not only that chapter, but the entire series. It will warm your heart, it will tear at your heart, and I'm sure there is nothing in there that all of you can't relate to. Torn meniscus surgery may be ineffective for seniors. Apparently there is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars spent on this kind of surgery, and it may not be effective if the torn meniscus was caused by arthritis, because arthritis cannot be corrected by surgery. So this study takes a look at whether or not this kind of surgery is really going to be effective for a certain population. Guess what? If you have arthritis in your knee, rather than having that surgery, the more effective option might be exercise to lose some of that weight. I hear ya. Internet privacy, we're going to take a look at, and we published an article about whether or not you are a cyberchondriac. Are you? Do you know what that is? We'll talk to you about what that is. Hang on. exploring cannabis as a tool to fight the opioid crisis. There are some 2 million Americans who are addicted to opioids and street drugs. But let's talk about the opioid crisis and the fact that research has discovered that cannabis medicine may well be the tool to get addicted people off of opioids and into a healthier state. You will remember, and if you don't, look back on our Facebook feeds, we had Mara Gordon join us for a couple of Facebook Lives. And she is somebody who is involved deeply in cannabis medicine through her company, Aunt Zelda's. And the work that they do, the health concerns that they are able to address is quite startling. Now, you need to bear in mind that cannabis medicine is medicine. We're not talking about something you buy on the street behind the 7-Eleven. We're talking about actual medicine, and like any kind of medicine, there are different strains of marijuana that work in different ways, and a reputable cannabis medicine distributor will be able to talk with you about those and find the one that's best for you. But doctors are actually finding this tool to be an effective tool to fight the opioid crisis. We had an author who wrote a book exploring her choice for a better old age. And so Heather, our writer, did an article on this book. This woman is 76 years old, and she has decided that 76 is a good age to die. Now, don't get excited. She's not suicidal. She doesn't have any diseases or conditions. She is healthy and well and plans to live to a ripe old age. However, she is well aware of peers and friends her own age who have been challenged by various health crises at this point in their lives. And this woman has decided that she is not willing to sacrifice the quality of life in her remaining years to invasive medicine. It's really not such a far-fetched idea. It's worth a read of this article to see her point of view, and I think you will agree with me that this woman she's not nuts. She has made a very conscious decision for herself, and it's maybe one that you might like to consider. Up to you. Our top 5 articles this week: Internet Privacy and You, Swim for a Stronger Core and Fewer Falls, Chicken Shots for Knee Pains, still up there. It's number 3 in terms of popularity. FDA approves new treatment for age spots. Don't we all deal with those? And Friends with Benefits after 50. We talked about that concept a couple of months ago on this Facebook Live. So people who are over 50, whose spouses have deceased, or who have become divorced, whatever their circumstance is, and they've found themselves 50 and over the age of consent, certainly, and they have decided that they really don't want to get married again. They really don't want to live with someone else. But it's nice to have someone to go out to dinner with. It's nice to have somebody to go to a movie or travel with. And it's nice to have somebody to have sex with. Friends with Benefits after the age of 50, our number 5 most popular article this week. All right, let's have a chat about internet privacy and cyberchondria. Are you a cyberchondriac? Okay, so that is a person who jumps on Dr. Google every time they feel a little twitch or pain somewhere, and they want to know what it is. They're convinced they have cancer or a brain tumor or something is going on that's incredibly serious. And there was actually a doctoral thesis that was done at McMaster University in Hamilton by a scientist who set up this entire situation where people would research and they would be given either true answers or false answers to health questions that they put into the search engine. And this project took a look at the choices that these people made after they were given this information. Now, one of the things that the author points out very clearly is that we have to understand what a search engine is. A search engine is not a human. It doesn't know what your intent is. It sees the words that you put in, and its job is to return to you the results that have most of those words in it. And there can be pages and pages, but the top results hopefully will have all of the words you put in. So if you put in the wrong search terms, you're not going to get back the information that you think you want. In that article is a link to a site that has been developed and approved by the Canadian physicians and the health councils. So that is perhaps a safer place to search. The article also points out that when you do your searches, you should be looking at sites that end with .edu or .gov. Check that out. Now let's talk, as I said, about internet privacy. I am going to share my screen with you, and we are going to take a look at, there we go. So this is the article that we published that was ever so popular, and I do want to go through this with you because it's so important to understand, and I know that older adults who were not born to this technology can find some of it very difficult to wrap their heads around. So I want to make sure you wrap your heads around it, because I don't want you to be scared about what you're hearing in the news. I do want you to be cautious. I do want you to be cautious. Okay, so free isn't actually free. That's a really important thing to understand. Facebook, which is the one that's getting all the attention the last week or so, is a free app that you can use. It's a free website. But it's not really free other than to users. It supports itself through advertising. Now I can tell you that on the Oldish, we buy advertising. We boost posts that we think will be of interest to older adults. And the best way to get that information out there is to boost it. The reason that Facebook is so good at this is because of how we all use Facebook. As we are going through our time on Facebook, looking at what our friends have posted, reading articles, sharing, we're liking things, we're commenting on things, we're clicking on links. Facebook takes note of all of that. So when any advertiser boosts a post, the things that you like, together with the information that you have provided when you set up your account, determine whether or not you are the appropriate person to deliver this ad content to. You don't have to pay attention to any of the ad content. You can ignore it, or you can pay attention, and some things are really interesting. We sure as heck hope you find the Oldish interesting and that you click on our content if you find it relevant to your lives. If you don't, you can just keep on scrolling and reading your friends' comments and keep on keeping on. So when you set up your account, you provided things like your birth date, your gender, your location. They want to know that they're real people. Now, okay, they get into trouble. Facebook gets into trouble because they have had to go through and delete a lot of fake accounts, but you and I aren't fake, and we've set up our accounts legitimately, and they know that I'm a female and that I'm over the age of 21, so I'm legally able to have a Facebook account. So free isn't free. Facebook supports itself by advertising. So does Google, so does Instagram, so does Twitter. All of these social platforms that you and I use every day that are free to us support themselves through advertising. It's no different than watching TV. I know you pay for your cable, but you watch TV and you watch whatever you want that's on whenever you want to watch it. You DVR it, you do whatever you want to do. But each of those programs is paid for and supported through advertising. It's the identical concept. You listen to the radio, there are ads. Identical content. Okay, so don't be worried about that. Let me see. Let's just go down here. They do have policies, terms, and conditions. Okay, so occasionally on Facebook, I do see this post pop up that people seem to want to share over and over and over again that says, by posting this, I forbid Facebook to use, copy, access, whatever. It's a bunch of hooey. Don't share that. Don't buy into that. When you see posts like that, My advice to you is to jump on a site like Hoax Slayer or Snopes, S-N-O-P-E-S, Snopes.com, and these are sites where you can go to find out whether or not content is true. Very good thing for you to know. Every one of these websites and applications has a series of terms and conditions. Now, any of you who were watching Mark Zuckerberg's testimony yesterday, as I was for a little bit, saw one of the senators hold up a stack of papers this thick. And he said, this is the terms and conditions document that a user needs to read through and understand in order to get on Facebook. And he's right. These terms and conditions can be extremely onerous. And the average person doesn't have a hope of understanding. Regardless, if you continue using that website or that app, you are bound by their terms and conditions. That's just all there is to it. Posting something is not going to make it any different. Okay? Groups. Let me talk to you about groups, because I know that a lot of older adults join groups that they think will be a source of support, a source of information. The Oldish has not established any groups. We have a page that we invite people to come and read articles on. We haven't yet established groups, despite the fact that Facebook has said that they're going to give priority to groups. Now, there are 3 different types of groups: open, closed, and secret. An open group is a group where anybody who's on the internet and on Facebook can see that group, they can see who the members are, and they can see what the posts are. In a closed groups and their members can be seen by anyone, but only members see the posts. Okay? So as a Facebook member, I could perhaps see a group. I could see that you belong to a group if you're a friend of mine, but I can't see what the posts are. I can't see what the conversation is about. Now, secret groups can only be seen by members of the group. So unless you know that the group is there, you would not know that the group is there. Those are the distinctions between the 3 types of groups. However, and this is a big however, when you join a group, the larger the group gets, the less ability the group owner has to decide who these people are, to go through and decide that this person is legitimate and this person isn't. So even though you think you're in a secret group and you're sharing these heart-wrenching stories that are happening in your life, be careful, because anyone who is a member of that group at any time can take their cell phone. It's easy as anything. Take their cell phone and take a picture of anything that's going on, any screenshot. You need to be careful of that, because your private information isn't private if you put it out there. Okay? Let me say that again. If you choose to post something on a forum, whether it's public or not, it is public information, because you don't know who's seeing it and you don't know what they're going to do with that information. Okay? So, while we are on the subject of Facebook, the article goes on. If you're somebody who clicks on those games that say test your grammar, or let's see whether you are really a Native American or a Native European, let's check what your ancestry is, you're clicking on an app that may well choose to access some of your data. I would encourage you not to do that. You know where you were born, and you know your command of the English language, or whatever language is your native language. You understand that. I don't play those games on Facebook because I'm not sure where my information is going, especially the ones that require you to enter information that might be a bit more personal. Okay? The browser that you choose to use, Chrome, Safari, Explorer, they all now have the ability for you to choose to have an incognito window. Now, don't be fooled into thinking that incognito means it's like putting on an invisibility cloak. It is not. It is not. Your information is not hidden from the people that you're visiting. So there is a new browser that I've discovered called Opera, and that is linked here in this article. It has a built-in VPN. So what is a VPN? It's a virtual private network. There are virtual private networks that I know a lot of Canadians will pay to subscribe to, because back in the day, even a year ago, you could subscribe to a VPN which would have its server perhaps in Chicago or New York or Paris or wherever, and you could access television programs or Netflix in that country. And the television network or Netflix would be fooled into believing that you were actually in the US or in Paris, because it was able to track back the IP address to the VPN's server. So it would think you were in Chicago. They're a little smarter than that now, so it's not necessarily the case. But Opera does have a built-in VPN. It just doesn't keep all of your information. It doesn't mean that it's invisible. Okay, understand that. It is a free browser to use, and it does give you a little bit more privacy, but don't count on it making you invisible to everybody. Okay, again, what you put out there on a public platform is not private. You can never guarantee that it is 100% private. Facebook is getting all of the attention now. I want to make it clear to you, though, that Facebook pales in comparison to the information that your internet service provider has on you. It pales in comparison to the information that your cell phone provider has on you. Your cell phone provider knows who you called, how long you talked to them, and it knows where you called them from, because it pings on cell towers. Did you know that? When you think about Facebook and you're all ready to be outraged about Facebook and privacy, you need to consider all of these other things too. We are in a digital age, and somebody somewhere is always tracking what we're doing. So let's look at your internet service provider. That was the example that I used in the article. Whether or not you are online. When was the last time you set up a new computer and it didn't ask you to sign in to your Apple account or your Microsoft account? You know that your computer is always telling you that it wants updates. Adobe Acrobat updates, I think, it feels like every day, constantly. My word processing program, I have the Microsoft Office suite. It's updating constantly. I just installed one this morning. How does it know that? Because it gets information from our computers. So, I always uncheck the boxes that say anonymously share information so that we can make our service better. I always uncheck those because I have no desire to share information anonymously or otherwise, because I don't know what they're taking. And I know that they purport to be using it to make their service better. I'm not quite as trusting with all of that. Okay, so it may seem like the only way to be completely anonymous is to stop using computers, but that is not the truth. When we go to the grocery store and we swipe our debit card to make a purchase, when we get on an airplane, our passport is swiped. Everywhere you go, everything you do, you are leaving some kind of a footprint behind. My car has GPS. I read somewhere long ago, and so it may have changed a little bit, but that in order to coordinate your position for proper GPS directions to wherever it is you're trying to navigate to, there are 7 satellites trained on you at any given time. Now, they're not trained on just me. I'm not that crazy about that. I mean, there are satellites up there. How else do you think the GPS tells you where to go? It's because they know where you are. They know where you are and they know where you're going. So because we tell them where we're going, we put the address into the car. We put it into our cell phone if we use Google Maps. We're leaving behind a digital footprint wherever we go, and whatever we do. Okay, now I want to show you a little bit about Facebook. Just going back to Facebook for a second because it is all over the news, and I want to show you how you can make sure of what is attached to your Facebook account in terms of apps and how to remove them if that's what you choose to do. So I'm going to take you to my Facebook page, and we're going to have a look over here at this. Now I'll show you how I got to this. I'll go to my home page, and you will see my friend Isaac Noor has just posted and done really well at Kiwanis. That's awesome. Okay, so you go up here to this little down arrow. Click on it. Go down here to Settings. Click on Settings. This is the place where you can download a copy of your Facebook data if that's what you want to do. If you've been on Facebook for a long time, it might take a while. And I remember downloading this a long time ago, and I didn't find it particularly useful, but feel free to go ahead and do that. Okay, now this is the information I have given to Facebook when I set up my account. This is where you want to go. Over here on the left-hand side, apps and websites. Okay, now, I don't have very many apps attached to my Facebook account. In truth, I went through them a couple of weeks ago when this whole hoopla started, because I hadn't for a while, and I deleted some. But this is what I've got that is attached to my Facebook account right now. It is as easy as pie if I want to remove them. I merely click on one or more apps and click Remove. Simple. You should not be misled into thinking that deleting an app or disconnecting it from your Facebook account means that whatever information they have on you is also deleted. It is not. Click on the app and you scroll right down to the bottom, and you see here, remove info collected by the app. In order to have the info removed by the creator of the app or the owner of the app, you have to contact each app individually and make that request. So it's not as simple as just deleting it from Facebook and all of your information is gone from their possession. That's not true. But let's look at what information they have before you get all excited. The info that I provided to this app is my name, my profile picture, the fact that I am 21 years of age or older, the fact that I'm female, and any other public information that I may have entered into Facebook. Now, public information is what? When you make a post on Facebook, you can choose to make it public. You can choose to have that post reach only a specific group of friends. You can choose to make that information available to only one friend. You can choose to make that information available only to yourself. All right? So I'm not getting excited about these apps being connected to my Facebook account because they don't know that much about me. They seriously do not know that much about me. Now, if you want to know...
Hi there, gorgeous.
There's Siri talking to me. I don't know why Siri is choosing to talk to me right now, but I love that Siri calls me gorgeous. Okay, let's go to ads. This is something else that you can look at, and this will let you know the information that the ad sites have on you, or how they determine that you are a target for their ads. If my internet will speed up, there we go. Advertisers you've interacted with, your information, your interests, this is what they know about me. So my information, for instance, very little. I have not told Facebook my relationship status. I have told them that I'm employed by the Oldish and that I'm the publisher-editor. They know that I went to Trent University. That's about it. Ads based on your use of websites and apps. I have said no. You can change your preferences. I have said no. Ads on apps and websites off of the Facebook companies. So that's when they track my movements outside of Facebook. I have said no. Ads with your social actions. I've said no. You can say no, or you can say yes, or you can say something in between. It's whatever you want. You can hide ad topics. It shows you the advertisers that you've interacted with, and you can choose to continue interacting with them or not. It knows your interests based on pages that you've clicked, advertisers that you've engaged with, conversations that you've had. These are all public conversations though. Okay, this is not something that is horrifically private. It's not private at all. You have put it out there. I have put it out there. Okay? So don't get excited and alarmed about all of this stuff. You have put it out there, and so it's okay. It's really okay. All right, so let's just go back to let's go back here to our, there we go, overlays window. I'm going to show you where you can find all of our information, and you can find that article that I referred to on internet privacy, and you can also find the article on cyberchondria. Be very careful about what you search for. Understand what a search engine is and what it looks for. That's kind of important. Okay. Around the world of the oldish this week. There's some interesting stuff. There's always interesting stuff going on about seniors and those who are our readers and our viewers. In Queensland, Australia, the Queensland Ballet and Queensland University of Technology have completed a 3-month study examining the health and well-being benefits of ballet for older adults. Isn't that interesting? The results note higher energy levels, greater flexibility, improved posture, and an enhanced sense of achievement, and they also felt happier. Now, we talked about something similar to this a couple of months ago here on this Facebook Live. We talked about ballroom dancing and how it was really good for older adults, because not only is the movement really good for you, but you have to memorize the steps and do them in the right order. So that's really good for your cognitive abilities, but clearly they have discovered that ballet fits into the same category. So go for it. Go for it and dance, whether your choice is ballet or ballroom dancing. I did not know this, but the citizens of China are have generally regarded writing a will as creating negative energy. So they have not typically done that. But the wealth of citizens of China is increasing to the point where their government and other powers that be are getting worried about making sure that the wealth is passed on properly. So they are now being encouraged to write wills, and to that end, the China Will Registration Center was founded in 2013 to provide the service of both creating and keeping the wills. Researchers have found that a higher intake of dairy foods, including milk, yogurt, and cheese, is associated with higher bone mineral density and vertebral strength in the spine for men. The Journal of Bone and Mineral Density notes that this research included 1,522 males, 1,104 females, and they were all from the Framington study. I don't know if you are aware of the Framington study or not. It is huge. I want to say that it started in 1948, and it is long-term and still ongoing, but it uses the citizens of a town in Massachusetts called Framington. Some really, really fascinating data has come out of that study over the years, and you can Google Framington Health Study to get all of that information. A new report out of the U.S. by Senator Claire McCaskill says that the price of the 20 most popular brand name drugs that are prescribed for seniors have risen in price by an average of 12% a year, and some have actually doubled. Big Pharma is said to have jacked the prices for one reason only, says Senator McCaskill: because they can. Are you surprised at that? I'm not surprised at that. Are you somebody who is looking for a side job? You know, the gig economy that is discussed, or are you recently retired and looking for something to do? The 5 top home care services that benefit seniors have now been researched and assessed and named: yard work, simple repair projects, meal preparation, house cleaning, and laundry. Those are the 5 top businesses that you can get into if you want to help seniors. One day we're all going to be there, so it's probably not a bad idea to help them. Okay, Well, that is it. That is all for now from the world of the Oldish and from our desk here at the Oldish Live. I hope you'll make time to join us again next Wednesday at 12 noon. We'll have another episode of the Oldish Live, and the closed captions will be on this one later today for you. So as we leave you, we will wish you a wonderful week and remind you that it does indeed take a village to age a senior. Bye, everybody.